guys, I wanted to show you an alternate method for finding the inverse. So this is something that could be used on problems 1 through 5, and I think it's kind of a cool method. If you like it, you can use it, but if you don't, keep doing what you're doing and solving for your new y. Here's how it goes. I'm going to show you the way that it works by looking at problem number 1, both the original function and the inverse function. And then what we discover, we're going to apply to problem number 5 from before. So first, what we want to do is focus on the x in both of these functions. And once we look at x, I want to state what has been done to x. So the first thing that's been done to x is that I've multiplied it by 3. So multiply by 3. And then the next thing that I've done is a subtraction of 1. If I look at the inverse function, I want to do the same thing. So x has had a 1 added, and then we took that entire thing and we divided by 3. Notice something here. My original function was multiplied by 3 to start, and in my inverse function I have a divide by 3 step, but it's the last step instead of the first step. In the original function, the last thing that I did was subtract 1. In my inverse function, the first thing that I did was add 1. So we used inverse operations, multiplying versus dividing, subtracting versus adding. And in order to do the inverse, we did those operations in reverse order. So our inverse operations, adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing, were done in reverse order. So let's take that concept and apply it to problem number 5, one of the more complex problems that we did previously. So again, we're going to focus on our x value and say what's been done to it, and I can see that the very first thing that was done is that we added 3. Next, we took a square root, and then we took that square root and we multiplied it by 2. Let's talk about the inverses of those operations. The opposite of adding 3 would be subtracting 3. The opposite of a square root would be squaring something. And the opposite of multiplying by 2 would be dividing by 2. So we're going to take those operations and go in reverse order and start at the bottom and create our inverse function. Talk about our inverse function, f inverse of x. So the first thing we're going to do is divide by 2. So I'm going to take x and divide by 2. The next thing I want to do is square that. And then finally subtract 3. Now this doesn't quite look like what we had on the answer for our inverse for number 5 yet, but just wait. If we simplify it by going ahead and squaring what's in parentheses, then we can see that we do have the same inverse function we had before. Now you're still going to have to use a graph to come up with your restriction of x greater than or equal to 0, and so you may want to go ahead and make yourself a note of that you want to still look at a graph to get that information.